What up, everybody? My name is OP, once again here at the Brooklyn studio for Serato. And a couple of minutes ago, the door knocked. My man from DHL was here with a package for me, and it ended up being this incredible controller that just came in the mail. Took it out the box, but we can see it here. We're gonna do a little unboxing for it. This is the brand new Pioneer DDJ-XP2 controller. What you see here in front of me is the original DDJ-SP1 controller that was made to work specifically for Serato. Now we have this new version that's an update with a bunch more pads, some extra features that are added onto it, and it's really, really incredible. So we're gonna do a little unboxing here, show you what it does, make some interesting things happen, and show you why this is the perfect update to go from the SP1 now to the XP2. All right, so inside the box comes with some little packaging. It's got some instructions, some quick guide instructions on what to do. USB cable attached to it as well. All right, cool, so let's get this thing plugged up and start to work with it. The first thing is this. This is an OSA, official Serato accessory, meaning that we can plug and play and this is gonna work directly with Serato DJ Pro right away. This is also bus power, so you don't need an external power source to be able to plug this up and make it work. Literally just bus power by USB onto the back here, and here we go. I like that. Beautiful colors pop up. So let's talk about the trajectory really quickly of these controllers. Originally, the SP1 was made to work with Serato DJ and also Serato DJ Pro eventually down the line once it came out. Pioneer then went and updated to the XP1 as the next version of the controller. That controller was only meant to work for rekordbox, but you could MIDI map it if you wanted to Serato DJ or DJ Pro. But some of the features that you wanted to get to inside of Serato DJ Pro might not be easy to map because of the way that it was set up with the XP1. So now with the XP2, this is fully mapped for Serato DJ Pro. You don't have to worry about missing out on certain features because all these different pad modes and knobs and buttons and such are all mapped directly to the program. It works seamlessly and really, really well. The last thing to talk about is that you'll see that it says both Serato and rekordbox on the controller. Pioneer made this to work both with rekordbox and also with Serato DJ Pro. So if you happen to be using rekordbox, this is a great controller for you. But because we're using Serato DJ Pro and this is our main software, then we're gonna talk about all the great features that work with Serato DJ Pro with this controller. So the first thing we're gonna do is dive into the pads and go through the different modes and talk about how they work and what they do. So pad mode number one. In pad mode number one, we have our hot cues that are available, all 8 of them. And then we also have our samples for the sampler inside of Serato DJ Pro. Let me get some music on really quickly. So here, I have my first hot cue that's inside of Serato DJ Pro. It's yellow inside the screen. It's also showing yellow here on the controller. If I make another one by pressing it, it's gonna be the same color inside the screen as it is here on the controller. And I can re-trigger it as many times as I need to. And if I wanna get rid of it, I can hold down Shift and then press the pad and then it's gone. I have all 8 of those to be able to work with, left deck and also on the right deck. Below that, I have my sampler. So all my samples inside the sampler, air horn and all kind of other effect sounds are all here to be triggered very easily in pad mode number 1. All right, so let's get into pad mode number 2. So with pad mode number 2, this gives us auto loops and also beat jumps. So by pressing one of the pads here, it's giving me one beat to start off with. And I can go lower in the auto loops or higher in terms of the beat value. I'm gonna go lower. So lower all the way down to 1/32 of a beat, or I can go as high as 32 beats, which is gonna give me 8 bars. Or I can do this little 3/4 kind of stutter thing loop that can happen here as well. That can be interesting for certain types of transitions if you want to use it. So you can do that. And right below that, you have your beat jumps. So with the beat jumps in the middle here, you can change the value of the beat jump to go, let's say to 4 beats jump or 8 or 16 or even lower. And now with the outside buttons here, I can jump backwards in time or I can jump forwards in time with the beat jump. So pad mode number 2, a lot of great things going on here. All right, so let's get to pad mode number 3. So with pad mode number 3, I have here my slicer and then also my sampler as well. So easy to be able to use the slicer to kind of chop up the beats as it's going along every 2 bars. And again, my sampler here at the bottom, easy to go with pad mode number 3. All right, so let's get to pad mode number 4. And with number 4, we have the option to create manual loops and also do beat jumps. So I'm gonna make a real quick manual loop. So easily able to make that manual loop. I can make adjustments if I want to. So in the beginning, pressing here, and I can adjust where I want it to come in at, right there. And then I can also do the same thing for the end if it's a little off and make those adjustments, just like that. The next one, pad that is going to allow you to turn the loop on or off. So I can turn it off, turn it back on, but it's not gonna actually go back to that loop until I re-trigger by using the next one here. And I can re-trigger it just like a hot cue, right? And then here, I have the option to save the cue point here, right? So here's the save one. If I make another loop down the line, I can press the pad again. That will now save another loop for me as well. So I can have all my loops saved here manually from doing the manual loops. And again, right below that is my beat jumps. So I can jump backwards in time if I want to, or forward in time as well. And what's pretty cool about this is as I'm making those jumps, it's taking that loop that I made and moving that loop forward or backwards as I'm beat jumping, going forward or backwards in the track. All right, so let's get to pad mode number 5. So shift and hold down on pad mode number 1 will get me into pad mode number 5. In pad mode number 5 is pitch play. So I can easily start to choose the cue point that I want to start to work with, or the hot cue. And start to do pitch play stuff. If I hold down shift and I had another cue point that was set up, or a hot cue, then I can press that one and then I can do my pitch play on that one as well. Now, the one thing to note as we're doing this is that you see that the pad modes are totally separate on both sides, which is really great. So I am in pad mode number 5 here for pitch play. On the right side, I'm in pad mode number 1, which is gonna be my hot cues and also my sampler. So I can do some really interesting things here while kind of going between both of the sides of the pads. Trigger a sample here, do some pitch play over here. Very easy without having to be confused about what's going on, which is really great. So let's get into pad mode number 6. I'm gonna hold down shift and press pad mode number 2. That's gonna get me to pad mode number 6. And in number 6, I'm gonna get to my loop rolls. Previously, the other loops that I was doing were auto loops. And now with this feature, I'm gonna be doing the loop rolls. Right, so very easy to do those loop rolls. And again, here I have that little 3/4 stutter thing going here on that last pad. And again, below that, I have my beat jump, so I can jump forward or backwards as we've already done before. All right, let's go to pad mode number 7. So I'm gonna hold down shift and pad mode number 3, and that's gonna get me there to number 7. And in 7, it's gonna now do the loop slicer. So it's gonna loop 2 bars of the track and allow me to do slices in that little section happening. And right below that again are my little sound effects going on, coming from my sampler as well. So that's pad mode number 7 there. And let's go forward into pad mode number 8, the last pad mode that there is. So I'm gonna hold down shift and hold and press on pad mode number 4. And this is gonna get me into my transport mode and also my mode to be able to adjust my grids. So I'm gonna go into internal mode here to show you how the transport works. So I press INT here, and now I can stop the music in internal mode. And if I wanna pick it back up again, I can press it again. If I wanna do a temporary cue point, then I can do the temporary cue point to be able to bring it in. If I wanna slow down the track, I can press this 3rd pad here, and you see that it's slowing it down. If I want to turn sync off, hold down shift and press that, and then sync is turned off if I'm using sync. Here, I have the option to turn on or off my pitch and time DJ or my key lock, right? So if I turn this off and now I start to slow this down, along with the sync, you can hear that the key is now changed with it, right? So I'm gonna turn the sync off and turn the pitch and time DJ back on. I have the option to do nudging. So I can hold down on the pad, either to slow it down or to speed it up. And then I can also change the actual pitch adjust by now holding down on the pad, and it'll start to slow down. You can see it happening in the screen, or I can speed it back up as well by holding down the pad, and it will speed it back up by BPM. So those are there. And then I also have the option to edit the grid. So if I go inside the screen here, you can see that as I start to press the different pads here, you're gonna see the grid start to change with the adjust and also with the slip inside the program. So you can easily start to make your beat grids start to fall in place if they're a little off while you're playing. So we talked about the pad modes, and now let's go to the top of the controller and all the features that are here. So with the encoder knob, this will allow me to scroll through the library inside the crate, or I can go to particular crates by pressing down on it, and I can scroll through various crates to figure out which one I want to work with. So I can now choose maybe a different track, and when I press load, it will load that track in. And if I double click on the load on the other side, it will do instant doubles on that side. So I'll just do that one more time so you can see the instant doubles rock, and now on the screen you can see they're both playing at the same time, instant doubles. If I want to go back to the previous track, I can scroll back down to the control remix, press load, and it loads up and it's good to go. If by chance that I want to move forward in my library, then I can hold down shift and go to the next song in the library very easily by just jumping forward in the library to the next songs, right? Below this section here, we have the option to turn on pitch and time DJ or to turn it off. So if I turn it off and I move the pitch adjust on the turntable, you can see that the pitch is changing as I'm changing the BPM, right? But if I turn that back on and do the same thing, it's gonna keep the same key while slowing down the BPM with the turntable. And then I also have the option for beat sync as well. So if I have two tracks that are playing that are different BPMs, when I press beat sync, it's going to sync the two tracks together to make them work. So that's very easy. We talked about pitch and time DJ already. Here I have the option to change the key of the track that's playing, going down by semitone or up by semitone if I want to. And if I have two tracks that are playing that are in different keys, then if I hold down shift and press the minus button here for key, it will key sync the two tracks together. Or if I want to reset it to be back in its original key, I'll hold down shift and press plus, and I'll go back to its original key to be able to work. So this section is really easy to be able to use. It's pretty cool. Let's jump over here, and I'm going to come back here into the middle. So here I have a 4-beat loop section. When I press this here, it's gonna automatically make 4 beats for me. And then I have the option to be able to go half the size of it or double the size of it in the loop. So I can go smaller in size, or I can go ×2. And if I wanna get out of it, I can just press it again and I'm out of it. Or if I had a manual loop that I wanted to make, that I needed to make some adjustments, I could press shift for the in and out to make it. And then if I needed to make some adjustments, I could do that from there as well. So that section is there very easily. And I'm gonna turn the 4-beat loop section off, and then it's out of the way. Here, I have my parameter buttons. And with the parameter buttons, I can use those for various different pad modes and functions inside of Serato DJ Pro using the XP2 controller. So a bunch of things from, for example, here, when I press it the first time for parameter, it's going to trigger the record for my flip. And then if I want to make a flip, I can start pressing the hot cues to record the flip, and then press it again, and then I'm done with the recording on the flip. So again, the parameter buttons can do a various amount of things depending on what mode that you're in to be able to work. Okay, here I have the option for quantize, and with quantize, I have the option to be able to trigger the cue points right on time, right? So it's gonna kind of land right on time without it having any stutter. If I take the quantize off, it gives me more freedom to kind of stutter the hits of the hot cues, right? And here right below that, I have my sensor, so I can do kind of a reverse roll, and it'll jump back in time into the song where it should have been had I not done that. And then right below that, I have my silent cue. So here with silent cue, it's muted right now, right? And then if I wanted to make sure that the song jumps in right on the time when I press the cue point, when I press the cue point, it's gonna unmute it and jump right in on time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, with that silent cue, when you have it turned on, it's gonna mute the sound, and as soon as you press the cue point that you want to jump to, it's gonna jump in right on time, hitting that cue point. So there it's on. I could do that with an acapella playing. So I'm gonna go back into silent cue here, and I'm gonna go here to this acapella. And I got the crossfader that's open. Both my volume faders are up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, right on time, super clean, super easy. So for doing routines of any sort, whether it be in a club or a battle, this is gonna be a really great feature using that silent cue feature on the XP2 controller. Okay, cool. We've talked about internal mode already, INC, but I'll talk about it one more time. When I go into INC, this is going to put the deck into internal mode, going from relative. And I want to go back to relative, I can press INC again, and I'm good. If I'm doing 4-deck DJing, I can hold down Shift and press INT, and that will get me to deck 3, or hold down Shift and press INT to get me to deck 4 to be able to have control over those decks, again, if you're doing 4-deck DJing. All right, so let's talk about the effects here on the XP2. So on each side, you have slider effect number 1 and slider effect number 2. So 1, 2, and 3 here are going to be the on buttons for the 3 effects that are on each side of the controller. So here, 1, 2, 3 for the left deck, and again, 1, 2, 3 for the right deck, right? Now, I'm gonna just choose effect number 1 on deck number 1, and when I go to the strip here, you can see that I'm able to control the combo filter by scrolling on the strip. Now, if I want to add something else to this, let's say the delay here, I can turn on number 2, and now I have the combination of the combo effect, filter, plus the delay going at the same time. And if I turn on the third one, I can add the reverb to that as well. And I can turn all those off at the same time by pressing all 3 at the same time if I want to. Now, if I have hold here flashing, let's choose the delay here. Actually, I will choose here the combo filter again. I can get to a certain point that I want it to be, and when I let go of the strip here, now it's gonna stay exactly or hold in that exact place that I left it at until I press it again and then hold there again. And when I want that off, again, I can either turn it off here, or if that was on still in a certain place, I could turn the hold off and still have the ability to then use the combo filter as it's going along. So really cool what you can do with the effects here inside of Serato DJ Pro using the XP2 controller. Again, this thing is a bunch of fun and really great to use. All right, and the last thing to talk about here are the MIDI mapping modes on the XP2. So pad mode 3 and pad mode 4 can be user modes to be able to map certain features that might be easier for you to get to on the XP2 controller. So if I double tap on pad mode number 3, it gets me into user mode. So if I go to MIDI inside of Serato DJ Pro, now I'm in MIDI mode and I can map anything. I'm gonna go here to this last sample in the sampler section in the bank, and I'm going to press on the play button to be able to map it. So now that it's blue, when I press the pad, you saw that it flashed really quickly. And now I can trigger the play button for that last sample in the sampler there, right? And I can continue to do that for other different features using all 16 pads to be able to map it, both for pad mode number 3 and also for pad mode number 4. Once I'm done, I just go back to MIDI and I turn that off. And if I want to save that mapping, what I will do is go to the setup section here, go to MIDI, and I will choose the DDJ-XP2, and I can see here that my MIDI preset is unsaved. So if I go here to save, I can name it to whatever I want it to be. So I'll just say test, and when I press OK, that mapping is there. So now that's the mapping that's used on here. So every time that I have test as a mapping set up, I will always have that particular mapping already set up for me to use. I can go back to all the other pad modes and have all the regular kind of features already mapped out. But again, double tap there, and I have that pad mode already set to be able to work with, and I'm good to go. So this here, the Pioneer DDJ-XP2 controller, is now available as an official Serato accessory, available to work with Serato DJ Pro in stores now. 16 pads on both sides, individual pad modes, so you can do one thing on one side while doing something on the other side. 8 different pad modes on both sides. Also MIDI mapping capabilities with the pads. You have your looping section, you have your loading section, you have your pitch and time DJ, your sync, your key sync. You can go into internal mode. You can control 4 decks if you want to from this thing. And you also have your effects here that you can control the Serato effects in the program. And need not to mention last that you have the silent cue, which is a great feature that people are going to be using on a regular basis for their club gigs and also for their routines. Again, the Pioneer DDJ-XP2 available now. My name's OP, Artist Relations Manager for Serato here in the Brooklyn studio, and we're going to catch you next time. Peace.